something triggers a pyroclastic flow about 10 times bigger than all that came before. Within moments, it overwhelms the valley. By the time a TV camera in the village records this scene, Maurice, Katja, and 41 others are dead.
In 79 AD, this volcano exploded. Down below, around the Bay of Naples, there were farms, houses, luxurious villas, Roman towns. The best known is Pompeii.
Yeah, look at that lovely bit of column.
Yeah, and look, this one, slow down. Street, like no cars, you know, all the shops all running out after you. Look, see that there, where my thumbnail starts? That round bit? Half moon, that's that. Then you've got 1, 2, 3. And we come up to a tower at the top. Staying up, hospital. Hospice. Villa. Where are we?
In one ancient cemetery outside Pompeii is a tomb that paints a much more complex picture of slavery. What you've got here is a tomb to hold the ashes of 3 people. And they tell you who they are. There's a man called Publius Vesonius, who is an ex-slave. He tells you he's an ex-slave. There's a woman called Vesonia, who had actually owned him and then freed him. And my guess is they probably then got married. And he's also putting it up for the guy on the right, a friend of his. The first text says, Vesonius put this up for this trio. But the text underneath tells the sequel, which isn't so happy. Stop and read this, he says. Because that guy on the right, who I thought was my friend, turned out to be false. In fact, says Vesonius, he took me to court. We quarrelled and he took me to court, but luckily My innocence and the gods above saved me. But he was a complete bastard.
We don't know why this man didn't just remove his ex-friend's statue. It's what I would have done. But luckily he didn't, as this monument tells a fascinating story.
Right, so we've walked up that bit there. We've come round it, and we are. You're looking at number 56. If you hang on a minute, I'll tell you what that is. It's Auto di Fugas. Bit of paint on that wall, look. You might see another lot like that. I remember one bit where it was raised up where you would walk across, you know. I'm going to go down to see if they find anything. Yeah, they should have, someone could do a little bit of riding. So that was a fountain then. Another one in there, another painting in a square.
It was a town where ordinary people lived cheek by jowl with the hedonistic rich. It had all the essentials of a Roman town, with a forum at one end and at the other an amphitheatre, and training ground for gladiators. A market, temples, baths, even a brothel. Perhaps 12,000 people packed into less than a square mile.
Must have been for horses and things, you reckon? Oh, that's...
How?
What do you reckon? It'd be nice if we could just find where we are then.
Your commentator is Robert Stevenson. Vesuvius explodes. Italy's historic volcano bursts into the most fearsome and devastating eruption in 70 years. Over the fiery crater, a great pall of smoke and lava dust spirals into the sky, a giant specter of endless grief for the Italian people. Suffering under many years of brutal fascism, then German occupation, then Allied bombing, then the devastation of battle, now it is Vesuvius. At least once in every century of the Christian era, it has hurled disaster. The city of Pompeii was buried when the huge mountain first thundered into volcanic life in the year 79 AD. Thousands of Italians perished. Excavations have revealed their tragic story. This was a pleasure resort of wealthy Romans almost 1,900 years ago. Rising 4,000 feet above the fertile plain of Campania, Vesuvius lazily pours forth a harmless curtain of smoke. Naples, 10 miles from the slumbering peak, lies in comparative safety except for the deluge of volcanic ash that will blanket the city. Then, with a few warning rumbles, Vesuvius belches fire, flame, and molten rock in a fearsome spectacle. Tons of ash and cinders are borne skyward, while fiery lava streams down into the doomed valley. The overflowing crater erupts with a mounting temperature of liquid steel close to the summit, which carries its fiery heat long after it loses incandescence. The Italian people are stunned. The crushing mass of lava moves relentlessly toward towns in the valley, an all-consuming force from 30 to 90 feet high, throwing off terrific heat and sulfurous fumes as it ignites everything combustible in its path. Venturesome youngsters linger too long in the danger zone and have to run for it. The wall of lava sweeps on. Frightened Italians try barricades of brush, hoping to check the cooling edge of the flood until it may solidify and build up a dam. But man's weak efforts against this monstrous force are hopeless. Mushrooming into the sky, the enormous gray-black pall of smoke fills the air with cinders for miles around. From fiery regions far deeper in the earth than any mine ever dug by man, the hot lava is a reminder that the earth was once just such a molten mass, gradually cooling until it formed an outer shell. This phenomenon is simply a weak spot in the shell. From the flaming depth, the liquid rock is forced to the surface by the pressure of the Earth's crust. As it boils from the crater of Vesuvius, lava may have a temperature of more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And in this major eruption, it carries the terrific heat far down the slopes of the mountain. It carries a crushing weight that dooms cities and towns. Salerno, 17 miles away, is buried in lava dust 3 feet in depth. An army bulldozer helps to clear streets, and soldiers, aided by the people, labor to enable military traffic to move. A costly disaster is soon apparent. The people of San Sebastiano are warned to leave their homes as the moving wall of molten rock grinds to the very edge of the city. There is time only to save a few pitiful possessions. The burning mass is already threatening to engulf them as it comes on at 3 feet a minute, and nothing stops the flow. The revered image of San Sebastiano's patron saint is festooned with offerings. The faithful may leave worldly things behind, but not a blessed statue. So long as the eruption continues, the catastrophe grows, with ever the chance that new rivers of fire will flood from the crater. The moving mass is gathering its forces now to engulf a city. No puny structures built by man can slow the tempo of its crushing march. Already, smoke and dust from crashing walls are seen, as fire spread with the flow of the lava tide into the heart of the city itself. Its people are appalled. These are their homes. Hoping against hope, others wait until it's imperative to move on. War has seared much of Italy, with half the land a battlefield. But a stricken people see before them forces of destruction more devastating than the worst that man has ever devised. More people are ordered to evacuate. The eruption continues, swelling the lava flow, and all throughout the second day, dense clouds of stifling black smoke dust billow upward, heavily laden with hot cinders. People in another doomed town are warned to get out. The molten rock sears everything it touches. Now the destruction spreads to Massa di Soma. It vies with war for diabolical supremacy. Orphans of war, hardened to bombing and shelling, are benumbed by this new terror. But so are their elders as they watch the drama of a perishing city. The unyielding tide of molten rock is accompanied by the continuous rumble of crashing walls. Faces reflect the tragic scene. Ruin spreads throughout a city built within 2 miles of the volcano's peak and ignoring its tragic history. They move to safe havens, but they'll come back. Each generation seems to forget this horror, though once in every century the cycle of the volcano's activity seems certain to reach a period of unpredictable danger. The crater pours forth its blackish pall in giant clouds of lava dust, but it covers the land with precious ash that makes the earth fertile, and grapes will grow again to produce a wealth of wine. So the people will return and defiantly rebuild their homes on the slopes of the threatening volcano. They call the slopes the Happy Land, and all Italy prays that happier days will come once more with the end of this devastating eruption of Mount Vesuvius.
These are the ovens
That'd be
again.
for a steak again. Why do they give it? Oh my God. Oh, look at the dog. Look. The dog on the lead. And it was all light, 20 foot down. And then
Hello. Hello.
I bet he's one. There he is. It's smaller than the...
Yeah.
On these holders, it tells you, or did it tell you on that one?
So the things in the middle were reservoirs of water.
Maybe, yeah. So obviously when they was actually building, you know, in the time it was built, they was getting all this out of the sea, right? Wasn't they?
I suppose.
And how close was we to the sea? Because, you know, like, some places the seas took over and some places it's receded, isn't it? and a bit of piccolo torto. Number 22. Another one of those spa places, is it? Get over to that. Lee, come and help me.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Cassie's at number 24. Thousands of years ago, it was dinosaurs. There was a dinosaurs in those still birdies.
Well, birds are the oldest living relative of dinosaurs.
This must have been something really special, mustn't it?
Uskonut vaatteet 7-9, niin
From baths.
We came in here yesterday.
No, we didn't.
Did you look at it in here? Oh yeah, central bath, do you reckon? The men's and women's sections, according to the sequence: dressing room, cold bathing room, warm room, as to the Augustine system. 2 stacked limestone benches. What you see this other one?
Next door is the big fountain.
Yeah, big fountain. See that one there? That one's the house of the surgeon dean, and they found gynecological.
Yeah.
This is one of the most sumptuous and largest houses from the latter period of Pompeii. And they moan if we touch the coral now. Staircase. It must be high up, you know, 'cause it's windy, isn't it? with all the big
Hey.
lovely, isn't it? Right, so number 4 was it, Dean?
Yeah.
Oh, we must be going backwards then. He was there, now we're there. That's the first door we've seen, Dean.
Hmm.
Yeah. I've got to look at it like that. Look at those doors. Isn't that nice? Oh, look, that's 11. But no, we're on the wrong side. Free's got to be this side. Oh, that was in that picture. What?
I think we have been to this one. Yeah, look, these ones are being renovated, you can tell.
Yeah.
And they're putting the ceilings back on.
Oh
And
yeah, look.
so I suppose it's...
It's good to read that little red book after because it actually tells you what they are. What did you say there? Looks like a spaceman. That invented the
No, they're obviously restoring this one because they've put the roof back on.
Oh, look, and this one. Right there. Didn't go there. What was this?
Well, they used to have these little temple areas with statues of gods in.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that.
And they're like history as well, these, aren't they? History of, look, that's a door. You can just make on the sway. It's lying there dead with all this big bag of money.
So that was a doorway or stairs to something.
How are they preserved like that? Because they was encased. The mother. Hard to remember that because it'll come up in question. Have a nice day. Will you be able to keep all this doing pictures up? So that's that. This is special. I suppose that's the royal box over there, where they are. So which one's the Vesuvius then? Or this mountain? Pretty much really. Hercules, isn't it, somewhere? Now, this is where they should be.
Con dirección norte-sur. Se llaman Carlos. Y otras tres.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Hello. Would you like a fruit pastel? Would you like a fruit pastel?
Yeah, still there. Do you reckon, or have they done it?
And then the like balcony inside, an atrium balcony.
Yeah.
Sit on the root so I can get the scale. My book has got a reconstruction of this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we to let you know you're there. Oh, I just realised all of it. What do you... That's why they have to do a lot of... Did we come in here yesterday? In that door there? We did,
No.
didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah? What, you could say it could go up any time?
Yeah.
There's no, you know, warning, is there? Floor.
For a baker's.
And it's a high street.
Big steps over there.
One man's got to two. It moves by 4 centimetres of long. Not stopping.
So that was a bar, and the barmaid would have been behind it, and people would have been standing out here like on the street. We have found some old Roman melted glass. Green. It's melted. There's a cow's head.
Did you say, Dave? Does he want you to, do you want to take his photo for him? He's on his own. What's up there? Number 6. What's under that grass here? The top. These are all tombs, look.
Nestling down there under the volcano, a string of working-class suburbs sprawling southwards from Naples, oblivious to the looming threat. Around 600,000 people going about life's humdrum routines in the shadow of a sleeping giant. The next time Vesuvius awakens, they're likely to find themselves taking part in one of the biggest evacuations ever organised in any country that isn't actually at war. To enable Italy's civil defence authorities to decide when it's time to take the awesome decision to disrupt the lives of 18 towns, perhaps irrevocably, some of the most advanced computer technology in the world is now deployed at the Vesuvius Observatory, monitoring and analysing the data emanating from the volcano and constructing models that test the scientists' predictions of what will happen next, down inside the mountain's mysterious internal, or perhaps infernal, labyrinth of volcanological plumbing. The team of geologists and physicists are confident that by using these techniques, they can offer the Civil Defence Department a reliable prediction of the volcano's next eruption 2 to 3 weeks in advance of the event. When they start calmly describing the forces of nature that are likely to be unleashed, that doesn't sound like a moment too soon.
Il vero rischio invece per tutte le cittadine che stanno alle pendici del Vesuvio è essenzialmente dovuto alla messa in posto di flussi piroclastici. Ci sono dei flussi ad alta energia che scorrono molto rapidamente sulle pendici del vulcano, con velocità anche dell'ordine di centinaia di chilometri orari e flussi ad alta temperatura, che ovviamente distruggono tutto quello che trovano. Un altro tipo di rischio, anche questo molto elevato, è il rischio di LAR, cioè di flussi contenenti acqua.
That phenomenon called a pyroclastic flow will come roaring down these slopes in seconds. It's caused by the collapse of the column of material that's been shooting several kilometres vertically into the sky. When the gigantic jet of gas from under the crater that's been holding it there gets switched off, this hurricane of incandescent debris comes shrieking down into those little towns, quite possibly followed soon afterwards by a torrent of boiling mud. Not to worry yet, though, the scientists have got it all mapped out, and for the time being, the volcano's in a lengthy quiet phase. The trouble with that is, rather like earthquakes, the longer it stays quiet, the bigger the bang when it finally does explode. Looking for signs of the next outburst means measuring several different parameters. If one changes, it probably doesn't mean much. If 2 are unusual, there may be some activity, but not an eruption. But if 3 or more parameters go abnormal, alarm bells start ringing. Seismologists have been measuring earthquakes inside Vesuvius for more than a century. They're looking for something called a harmonic tremor, low-frequency vibration which tells them fluid rock or magma is on the move. When the magma starts rising, so does the source of the tremor. Meanwhile, geologists are measuring the stretching and squashing of rocks around the crater and chemically analysing the gases that come out. They admit they can't say now whether there's going to be an eruption in 1 year's time or 100, but when those tremors start rising, cracks start opening and gases change their composition, then they reckon they can.
La previsione su un'eventuale ripresa dell'attività eruttiva del Vesuvio è più precisa, diventa sempre più precisa man mano che ci si avvicina all'evento eruttivo. La previsione a lungo termine può avere una grossa indeterminazione, mentre invece man mano che ci si avvicina diciamo, all'atto eruttivo, diciamo, la previsione può essere sempre più precisa, trovare riscontri successivi che possano definire sempre con maggior precisione diciamo, l'accadimento dell'eruzione.
Back in the year 79 AD, there were no seismographs, no computers and no gas chromatography. Consequently, Vesuvius took the ancient city of Pompeii completely by surprise. There was no time for evacuation. The sky turned darker than night as ash rained down. The city perished. Another thing they didn't have in ancient Pompeii is the Circumvesuviana, a vital element in the new evacuation plan, the commuter railway system snaking between the volcano and the sea along the chain of most endangered municipalities. But not everybody will be happy about leaving. For one thing, people forced to abandon their homes and travel to other parts of Italy are certain to worry about looting. The Civil Defence Department hopes to reassure them.
È una zona molto vasta, ci sono 18 comuni dell'area vesuviana e in caso di allarme per l'evacuazione viene completamente l'area circondata dalle forze dell'ordine e dai militari. Viene fatto una sorta di anello di sicurezza, un filtro. Questo consente di regolare l'uscita degli evacuati, ma anche regolare il pattugliamento, l'entrata della malavita, dello sciacallaggio cosiddetto alle abitazioni vuote.
That still leaves the problem of criminals who live there in the first place simply staying behind. After all, it's an area where tourists are warned about muggers if they take the train at night. In theory, there will be plenty of time to shuttle people out. In practice, there are expectations of people being crushed in crowds and of fights breaking out when traffic gets jammed at crossroads. To relieve some of the congestion on land, more than 80 ships will be brought in to evacuate around 45,000 people and 4,000 cars by sea. There are to be 16,500 people overseeing the evacuation, though as they'll be working for various different agencies, it's not clear how well coordinated they'll be in a country where the left hand often doesn't know what the right hand's doing at the best of times. And yet, there seems to be no sense of foreboding among people who've lived under the volcano all their lives. And if there's also a certain degree of cynicism about official plans to deal with a major eruption, that may be because here in the Italian south, people are accustomed to putting their faith in an altogether higher authority.